Oh, snap. What's up? What's up? 3 o'clock, right on the nose, on time for once. Way to go. All right. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I'm live. Can you see and hear me okay? I'm engaging the live YouTube control room. Hey, who's this? All right. Spear646, good to have you. Let's get this dialed in a little bit. So there we are. There's the blue light on. That is a, for those of you who are new to this, that is a sketch drawing of Batman the Dark Knight. There's shining the light across the world. There's my surfboard in a red surf bag. That's because I surf every day with Putin, and we discuss with Jill Stein how we're going to overthrow America. Oh, The Day Drinker, good show in Chicago. Thanks, man. That show was awesome. It was really cool. It was great meeting a lot of people after the show that jump in on the live chat and are fans of this. It was awesome. I have not watched Sorry to Bother You. And I don't know why I'm backwards. I have no idea. I have no idea. Notification work, that's good. Yes, I'm a Kremlin goon. Zach Davis, Stephen Carl. I do not have a Dakota ring. Cappuccino Conservative. Hi, Graham. Loved the show last week. I missed meeting you because my phone was dying. Well, sorry. That was such a cool show. The Chicago thing, man. The show, that was like an amazing experience. I saw you live stream, then cut it off and rip us. Very punk rock. Well, yeah. I want to give you guys a little taste, a little backstage, but it's also kind of, it's not fair, in my opinion, to live stream. I don't know. Well, the whole thing, whatever. People. This is the water Gotham deserves right now. The one it needs. I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking all commercial logo. Oh, I love my Batman drinking water. Ho! Hello! Did the FBI look at the server or not? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I'll just say this. The Jimmy Dore show Chicago was so awesome on a lot of levels. One, it's great to be back in Chicago. And 600 people in a packed theater. I've done shows in front of packed audiences. I've had applause breaks and standing ovations and all that stuff, which is great. It just, the electricity of it, and I've done, you know, a bunch of Jimmy Dore show live ones, probably 8, 9, 10 of them here in LA, and they've been exciting. But the road one was different because it was just like, it's cool. The people that come to the live shows in LA are great, but they get to see that a lot, so maybe they're, you know, a little spoiled or whatever. This is doing it in Chicago, and it was being introduced by Steph as, ladies and gentlemen, the political vigilante Graham Elwood, and the applause I got just walking on stage was so cool. And then doing all this political material. You know, I'm making fun of the NFL, and after, you know, I did this whole joke about, you know, I'm very critical of the NFL, and I do this joke, and I get off stage and I said to Jimmy Dore, we both, you know, obviously grew up in Chicago, and I said, can you ever have imagined I could have made fun of the NFL in the Chicago, like this town that's this diehard sports Bears fan town, and people would applaud? It was amazing. And their reaction to people after shows and interviewing people after the shows, I put that up there. It was such a great experience. And then many of you coming up, introducing yourselves. That's why I love doing the live shows on the road. I get to meet you guys because I only know you by your screen names or whatever. And so it was really, really cool. So Yeah, just a beautiful theater and a cool part of town, the Pilsen district. I had some friends and we went to dinner in this really awesome Mexican restaurant before. It was just great. It was beautiful weather in Chicago. It was great. It was a quick trip, but it was awesome. And then I've been in San Diego the last week. Had some Comic-Con events. I was on Doug Loves Movies, and then I did Rick Meyer's Kung Fu Superhero Extravaganza panel at Comic-Con, and then during the day I was shooting this documentary, Laughter Heals, or actually called Live to Laugh. So that's why wasn't able to live stream, and I haven't put out many videos. But let me show you that right there. That's the new monitor, guys. That's the new fancy monitor. It's the studio's getting jacked up this week. So Andrew Sweet, where am I from? I'm from Chicago, actually. I'll give you my brief history. I was born in Wisconsin. I lived in Madison, Wisconsin until I was 11, almost 12 years old, and then we moved to Chicago, where I went to high school there. And then I went to Chicago, and then I went to college in Arizona. And then when I graduated, I went back to Chicago and started doing stand-up comedy professionally. That's where I met Jimmy. So I sort of consider myself from Chicago more than anything else. But I've been living in Southern California for a while. Joshua Pegg, love it when you do the short live streams before or when you're going on at your live shows. Thanks, man. I think it's cool because I just want to give everybody a taste, and it's cool. The fans and the audience and the crowd are like, "Oh, we're live," so they get to be seen everywhere. And if you look at some of the comments, that people are like, "Oh shit, there we are in the fourth row," which is really cool. And to give you guys a taste of the live shows, if you've never been to one, man, you got to come check them out. Speaking of which, I will be doing Political Vigilante live in Seattle. Again, it's one of these cool little intimate venues, so it will not be 600 seats. It's less than 100, so get your tickets as soon as you can. That's August 9th. And then doing stand-up comedy August 11th. August 10th, I'm going to Pearl Jam. And then Ron and I just added some more progressive comedy tour dates. November 2nd in Sacramento, November 3rd in San Francisco. So again, go to grahamelwood.com for all the tour dates. Come, if you're in the Seattle area, come out, you guys. I'm going to do some cool stuff with Political Vigilante live in Seattle. So, Amy Matura, thank you so much for supporting the show. Come to m.I.c. We can annihilate Chicago, and you guys are from there. Using annihilate in the pacifist sense. P.S. Have you given up Whole Foods yet? Ooh, what a wonderful question. Yes, I want to come to New York City for sure. And I'd love to do live shows there. I love coming to New York. So I think Ron and I are going to try to New York, you got to book a ways out, but we'll try to find some dates and come to New York because it's always great coming to New York. Have I given up Whole Foods yet? I haven't. I can't say I've given up Whole Foods entirely, but I'm going to it way, way less. I go to Trader Joe's a lot more. And there's a co-op near me that I've gone to in the past that I'm starting to go to, and I'm finding, because one of the things, Whole Foods and some Trader Joe's too, they have charging stations for your electric vehicle. So I don't have charging in my building yet. My landlord is working on that. But so I have to go find charging stations sometimes, and some of the Whole Foods have free charging. But I try not to use it as much anymore because of the Jeff Bezos thing. I really don't. And there's plenty of other places in LA that have the stuff that I need. There's a local market by me that has a lot of healthy, hippie, gluten-free, vegan stuff there. And I like supporting it because it's like a mom and pop market. It's a little more expensive, but I like going there. So yeah, I'm trying, Amy. And I appreciate you holding me to it. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And when we get some New York City dates, we'll let you know. David Wint, always great to have you here, and thank you for supporting the show. Hello, sir. How is the end of civilization going for you this week? Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good apocalypse week. I was surfing today. It's beautiful beach weather. It's summer here. The summer at the beaches in Southern California, it's like a resort. It's awesome. This past week I was in San Diego, which I love San Diego, and was directing the beginning of a documentary about the healing power of laughter. So I was in this very sort of positive environment, and they talk about, cortisol levels rise up when you get stressed, and laughter literally decreases it, and how to do that. And I was thinking to myself while we were listening to these interviews with doctors and all these professionals, I was like, you know what? I need to implement that when I do this show, because that's the thing, I've talked about it before on this show, and anytime I interview like an independent media person, we always have this conversation, because we all know this, you follow these stories, and I'm reading and researching them and talking about them, it can really like, oh God, where it's all falling apart. And so laughter literally physiologically mitigates stress and tension, and when you read these stories and get all pissed off or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to be back at busting out 12 videos a week like I've been doing, and get this new studio set up, and I'm going to do what I'm research and do all that, and then after I record, I'm going to go do something silly just so I don't, and maybe try to find more humor in there, because just for my own psyche and to give everybody hope. One of the things I have always tried to do from doing this show is give people hope, or a battle cry, or an action they can take, versus just like, well, it's all falling apart, we're all doomed. The stuff with Trump and Russia is like, I think Putin does have something on him, but also I'm glad that two superpowers are talking peace. I mean, it's amazing to me that they're chastising Trump. And again, I think Trump is a jackass. He's a complete jackass. I don't like that he's my president. So saying this doesn't make me some sort of Trump apologist. But I don't think people understand the severity of what, World War III will bring. It's sort of like, the end of life on Earth. So I'm against that. Maybe that makes me a sexist burn bro, I don't know. But the fact that they're trying to find peace within these two superpowers is a good thing. That's good for the survival of humanity, So that's how I'm dealing with the end of the civilization this week, David. Did that answer your question? Dwayne Gordon, come to Philly. I would love to come to Philly. I've been to Philly numerous times. I love the Helium Comedy Club. I think what will happen when Ron and I lock down some New York dates, we'll make an East Coast run, because it's so easy to just take the train up and down to all those towns. So we'll probably I'd love to do like New York, Philly, Boston, DC, Baltimore area. I would love to do a little tour like that. That would be fantastic. So I think we're going to look into that. But Dwayne, thank you so much for supporting the show. And I was Craig Shoemaker, who was the guy that hired me to direct, because Laughter Heals is his non-for-profit. And so I was working with him all week. So he's a huge Philly guy. We're talking a lot about Philly. Chris Mancini, my co-host on Comedy Film Nerds, is also from Philly. So I love that town. I've had great experiences there. And I would love to come there for sure. So thanks, Dwayne, for supporting the show. Andrew Sweet, have you biked the old paved over railway from Madison to Milwaukee? No! Oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing. I'd love to do that. Craig Robb, Brown is still very funny and Graham is still smart. Well, I'm glad I'm still smart. I'm glad I didn't become dumber. Rosenfeld 10. So I guess the summit and the reaction from it is all the rage in the news this week. I've seen many people, even those who weren't before, being convinced by the indictment that Russia hacked us. Yeah, I mean, if they did, I mean, it's just like we've been talking about this fucking thing for 2 years, man. Okay, if they did, well, we've hacked a lot of elections. All right, if they did, how do we prevent it? And if they did, and if the election was hacked, when are we going to have a real investigation about the DNC hacking? 2 years we've been talking about Russia, but the DNC thing, sorry. So it's like, it's ridiculous. Shelby Hall, Jeff, I'm a twat Bezos. Thank you for posting that. Um, Snork Y2K. I miss living in a town with a food co-op, but I can go to the Amish farm, so that's cool. Um, Amy Matura. He's getting diabolical, and it's really getting super hard. Yep. Roger Nichols surfs up. Craig Rob. I'm Canadian. I like early autumn. Marcia Smith. Hi, everybody. Just got back from mom's and happy to say repairs on my home from the fire I had on April 8th are done, and I have AC again. Yay! Congratulations. Good for you, Marcia. Thank you for updating us. Stephen Gaze. Music helps with stress too. Absolutely. I've really found too the things I watch, because like I've always been Netflix, right? And I've always, it dawned on me about a year or so ago when I was like battling some stuff and going through a tough breakup, and I was like, man, I watched like Breaking Bad and Mad Men and all these shows where they're well written, they're well directed and acted, but it's always like some guy that's like awful and all this horrible, like I watch crime dramas, and I'm like, man, I didn't realize how those were like really putting me in a dark place, because they're dark shows. And I started to watch more comedies. Because I'm a professional comic, I'm way more critical of comedies, but like I binge watched 30 Rock last year, like all 6 or 7 seasons. Lately I've been watching West Wing, because West Wing is just adorable. It's so cute. It's like Disney politics. If like we showed American politics through the Disney lens, that's what West Wing is. And it's cute, fun dialogue, and they might start dating. It's so fun. Natural Progressive. Chris, thank you for supporting the show. I did an interview with her. That is, I believe, online. You can online. She really was very open about being married to a man that then decided to go through I think it's called sexual reorientation surgery or procedure. Really open, candid conversation. So Chris, thanks for doing that. Hashtag unity for Jay Assange is in trouble, and so is the free press. Yeah, man, it's like they're about to, I just read this, they're about to extradite Julian Assange. Like they're going to give him up. It's just, and I don't, why more people, and these unity for Julian Assange, I've done these live streams a couple times that they've, I forget, Susie Doss has put together, and it's just 24 hours usually, or 12, I forget how many long, but for an hour you'll talk, and they get people from all these different political walks. Like the woman I was talking to a couple Saturdays or Sundays ago, she's a conservative, and everyone was putting they're putting their politics aside, because the thing I said, like if you're a big fan of Sean truth on the internet, it's like finally got him angle, like Osama bin Laden or some bullshit like that. But thank you, Natural Progressive, for supporting the show. Here. Rosenfeld 10. Tulsi's proposed bill securing America's Elections Act is sitting on the floor of the House. It would protect us from foreign hackers and domestic hackers. They don't care about election integrity. That's such a great point, and it just shows you like I more and more Gabbard, rise to the occasion of being a real progressive. She said no to corporate donations. She's putting bills like this. She's questioning why we're going into Syria. Now people keep bringing up her views on like Islam and stuff like that. She's been very open. Like when I was a younger person, like in the 90s, I had these views and I don't believe in them anymore. But when someone says like, this was my view when I was in my teens or early 20s, it's like, yeah, I remember being 18 and thinking that being gay was a choice. I thought that was a choice. I was 18. What did I know? And they were, yeah, I was in Oregon and they were trying to pass some like marriage equality or some right wing thing, but the way they were pitching it was like, why do these people get, they were viewing it that being gay was a choice, and I was like, that's ridiculous. And then I go to college and I'm in the theater program and the film program, and I start performing and I meet people who are gay and they're like, you think I chose this? You think I would choose to be in the most hated, in this homophobic, awful, racist country? You think I would choose that? And I was like, oh, wow. So I've read what Tulsi said years ago, and I've read her talking about it now, saying my views have changed, we're all victims of how we were raised. And when you get older and you start opening your mind up to the world around you versus just the little world you grew up in, if you start changing your mind from them, and that's what makes you a progressive. That's what makes me a progressive, is I have progressed in my views. I used to think, oh yeah, we need a strong military. Yeah, we do, but we don't need to spend 65% of our budget on it, Adam Kern, thank you so much for supporting the show. Do you have a line of communication with Kyle Kulinski? I kind of want him to cover the corruption in Tim Canova's race, and if you could bring that up to him, I'd be great for spreading the word. I assume he doesn't know. I don't know Kyle. I really don't. Jimmy knows him. Jimmy's talked to him. I haven't even had an online interaction with Kyle. I like what he does. I respect his show. I've never met him personally, and, he's one of the people that came way before me, and I think he's doing good stuff. I personally don't want to know, I'd like to know more about the corruption in the Tim Canova race. If I have any sort of interaction with Kyle Kulinski, I'd love to talk to him about that and get him involved in that. I just don't have, I don't have much connection with him, but I think I don't even know if we follow each other on Twitter. I follow him, I'm pretty sure. If he follows me, I'll direct message him and bring this up to him, Adam, and see what he says. But, just to be clear, you guys, I get a lot of emails. Kyle Kulinski, I'm sure, gets way more than me, and Jimmy probably gets even way more than that, of people saying, you got to cover this, you got to cover that. And not that they're not important, but there's only so many of us, and we all do the best we can and try to cover the things that we can that we feel are important. So I'll pass it along if I do, and I appreciate you supporting the show. But yeah, I'll do my best. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate it. And I'll do some research, and I'm working on, I'll tell you this, Adam, I've been given contact, either Tim Canova's campaign manager or someone within his campaign, and I want to do an interview with him. One of the reasons I want to set the big studio up is I want to get this more fancy, because if I have a little slicker studio, then contacting a big candidate and saying I want to do a Skype interview with you, they'll be more willing to do it. So I'm going to try to get an interview with Tim Canova, and we can talk about it then too. Tom Zito, Kyle is more of a Justice Democrat, Dem enter progressive, while Tim Canova is more of a Dem party, Dem exit progressive. Yeah, that's true. Andrew Sweet, Kyle must know you. Sure, he'd go on your show. He's a little guy too at one point. He was a little guy too at one point. Yeah, I'd love to have Kyle on the show too. PS Xbox Gamer, Graham, what do you think about the UK NHS privatization? National Health Service, I believe, is what NHS stands for. So yeah, that is the UK's, they get free healthcare. Privatization is always bad. Overall, there's very few examples, and there might be some, but usually privatization benefits the big company or the big corporation or the industry that is getting the contract. Rarely does privatization benefit regular citizens. I don't know that much about the UK's NHS, but I just can't believe that it's a good thing. There's no way Every time we privatize stuff, every time, well, privatize, governments are bad. And it's always, politicians that are paid off by the corporations always say this, privatization's better. Is it? Is it? Is it better? I feel like no. I feel like, no, it's not. I feel like it just, let's go through some examples, right? So one of the things I saw when I first went over to Afghanistan and Iraq as a comedian was KBR, which was a division of Halliburton, right? So Dick Cheney was the big guy that pushed through privatizing all. So this is all stuff like that the Army used to pay its soldiers to do. You had KP duty, you worked in the mess hall, the military handled it. So what they were paying the military people, their military wages, that's what it cost to feed. And then they privatized it, and the rates went way up because they could bilk the shit out of the government. Everyone said, this will be better, it'll save money. No, it doesn't. There was a documentary about, and some people that work for Halliburton came forward because they were like, oh my God. We were getting paid all this money, and they did it for noble reasons. They said, well, yeah, some of it was money because it's like, I could make 30 grand a year in the Army, or I could make, 100 grand a year for KBR. But they tell themselves, yeah, I'm helping our men and women in the military and the war on terror. And they came forward I forget the name of this documentary, but it was, they're like dirty water and all this crap. There's all this corruption every time they privatize stuff. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. So that's my... Yeah, Andrew Sweet, it must be better. Look how good the private prisons are run. Yeah, exactly. We could just name them all. Private prisons. Anytime we privatize something, it's always shitty. It's always shitty. Dennis from Germany. Do you agree if I ever hear from a conservative again about the deficit debt, I answer, look what you did. You all lost credibility, so shut the fuck up. I kind of understand that question, but I kind of don't. But going back to PS Box Gamer, Corbyn is on the way to government with a 7-point lead. I would agree with you. The conservatives are scared. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, this is the thing, too, going back to, talking about the privatization and why Jeremy Corbyn was the guy saying it's bullshit. We had a really good NHS, and now the privatization is screwing it up. The railway system he talked about fixing, because all this stuff got privatized. And it's why Jeremy Corbyn is a threat. Because Jimmy Dore showed that video with regard to Jeremy Corbyn, but it's very true here. The press used to be the watchdog of those in power. And now, because the corporations have bought off all the major media, and it's the same thing in the UK, they are now the guard dogs of power. So Jeremy Corbyn and his populist progressive platform is a threat. So they're going to go after Jeremy Corbyn. There's this great video Jimmy showed on his show and at a live show numerous times of the number of negative Corbyn articles. And we've talked about that here, the number of negative Bernie Sanders articles, because he, a progressive, is a threat to the corporate machine. So they're going to go after him. They're going to go after him. And they're going to come back and try to sell us on privatization is so great. Oh, yeah, it's so great. Yeah, the private prisons are great. They're great. Awesome. So thanks for bringing that up, because so much what's happening in the UK is very like Brexit and Trump getting elected. There's a lot of parallels there. Both countries are very big into war, and the Saudis and all that nonsense. Toll roads, good point. Stephen Carl, I have a friend with a special needs child in the UK, and she's freaking out over the privatizations in NHS. Oh yeah, what are you going to do? Pre-existing conditions? Oh man, you get ready to pay for that. You get to be like good old America. Man, I told you this, guys. I think I went and just routine cleaning, and they found $1,400 in shit that needs to be done. The dentist did. old fillings that are starting to go, that need to get worked on. Like I take pretty good care of my teeth. I brush and floss every day and all this. They found this stuff that they said $1,400. I don't have the money. And I found out that, in Costa Rica, there's dentists that have degrees from the States, and it's called medical tourism. You go to Costa Rica, they work on your teeth. It costs $300 instead of $2,000 or whatever. You go on tour, and at first I was like, that's awesome. Well, I'll go back to Costa Rica with my buddy and we'll surf. I'll get my teeth fixed. I'm like, how fucked is that? In the richest country in the history of the world, that I have to go to another country to afford. I'm just like, if I'm going to spend all that money, I might as well go get a surf trip out of it. I don't have dental insurance. I have health insurance. I don't have dental insurance. Privatization, such bullshit. Marcia Smith, privatization always makes everything worse. Capitalism is a cancer on our society that will suck us dry if we don't stop them. Absolutely true. And all it is, privatization is just more, it's just another manifestation of unregulated, out of control capitalism. Vegan smoothie break. Oh, it's a good smoothie. Real quick, guys, that was unsweetened organic almond milk, frozen organic blueberries, frozen organic banana. I ran out of peanut butter, but frozen power greens and plant-based protein. Oh, yeah. Liberal Discord, would you still bring yourself to vote for Kevin DeLeon? I don't think I can. I don't think I can vote for DeLeon just because he's not as much of a corporate Democrat as Dianne Feinstein. I think I'll write in a candidate. I think I might just write in Allison Hartson or something. Just because I voted for her in the primary, I might just write her in just to vote. I'm not doing the lesser two evils thing. I'm not doing it. So, JK, Third Way wants to offer a form of privatized Social Security as a Democrat policy platform facepalm. Oh, God. God. So nice. Yeah, Carl Knight, privatized freedom. Just kidding. Well, I think that's already happened, Carl. The only thing Assange does is publish. He gives zero commentary on the WikiLeaks website. It's only pristine emails. This is the most genuine of reporting ever. Yeah, Julian Assange is like the most ethical dude that I've seen. Andrew Sweet, every once in a while someone tries to float private healthcare, but they get swatted down pretty quick. $25,000 on dental work in Canada. Oh, geez. Agreed. Snork Y2K, a couple years ago, it was cheaper to fly to London and get a year's supply of my prescription that was made in Chicago than 1 month's supply here. Right? How insane is that? Story after story after story. It's insane. Neoliberalism. Yeah, that's what it is. Moose Gal. Graham, did you hear that over 60 Dems are going to be in the Medicare for All caucus? Well, it's about time. That's good to hear. The Democrats need to wake up. I think that's the other thing too that's good about, there's so many good things about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez winning, is it's like, hey, wake the fuck up, Democratic Party. She was the Democratic, and the DSA is they are starting to gain traction. They're not a political party. They're just like an organization. And they are backing people, and they helped her win. And like, I'm so down with what they're doing. So it's like the fact that people are now openly saying I'm a socialist, or I support, or I'm endorsed by the DSA, or I'm with the DSA, or whatever, is a big deal. Because I'm talking about when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and socialism, they always tied it into communism. And the fact that 60 Dems are going to caucus for Medicare for all is huge, because that's what we need. You know? And like, if Trump takes away Obamacare, which I use and it saves me money, oh boy, I don't want to go back to paying $450 a month for some shitty Anthem Blue Cross, HMO or whatever, which stands for have money or die, according to one of my doctors. So that's great. That's what the Dems need to do, is stop listening to the corporate donors and listen to their fucking base. And us, we need to just hold them accountable and vote them out. Like I'm saying, I'm not going to vote for Kevin DeLeon just because he's the lesser of two evils. I'm not doing it. I'm not going for Corp Dem Light. Sorry. So, because they're counting the they're seeing the numbers. They're seeing how many people are showing up to vote. They're seeing what independent and third-party candidates are getting, even if they don't win. They're paying close attention to Kenneth Mejia. They're paying close attention to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're waking up to this, man. They're trying their smear tactics and all their other bullshit. They'll keep doing that, but they're going to keep losing. If we all stay rallied and we all stay activated and we all stay engaged, and even when we lose a battle, we keep going and keep going forward, they're going to have to pay attention. And that's a great thing. Thanks for bringing that up. Are those sound effects? Back to PS Xbox Gamer. What's happening in the UK is that the Blairites, who are neoliberals, do not understand the mass movement created by Corbyn. Neoliberals could never generate that type of movement. Oh, yeah. Neoliberals, and it's funny, it's so great you're bringing this up about the UK. It's always great you guys in other countries bring up what's going on there and how it relates to the US, because I don't think Americans, we're very isolated here and don't understand that there's a bunch of other countries and sometimes they're going through very similar things. Yeah, that's the thing. Neoliberals, when Trump won, they thought, oh, we just got it. We got all these anti-Trumpers. This is great. A lot of them were like, you're bullshit. Your party's bullshit. And it's funny, the Blairs are just like the Clintons, the neoliberal corporate pro-war. And it's just like, man, they're like, it's so great. Because that's the thing, and I've said it time and time again. It's in Hedges' book. Everyone says this. Noam Chomsky says it. Populist, progressive platforms never lose because they benefit everybody. They benefit everybody. Except the one percenters. So it's great. It's great that this is happening. It's tough times in the short run, but I think in the long run, it's going to work. I think in the long run, people like Jeremy Corbyn and Bernie and Tulsi Gabbard and all these people are out there fighting for it, and they're going to win. Alexandra, she's a 28-year-old Democratic socialist, just won. That's huge. That's huge. So these little victories are going to start stacking up. This is the thing I'm talking about. Everything starts local. Everything starts, get progressives. I've said this. I'm going to keep saying it. Get progressives on your school board. Get progressives on your city council. Even if your city's small, get them going. Because this little school board, that district, that county, this little town, all start kind of getting progressive. And then all of a sudden, things get more progressive. Chattanooga has municipal broadband. Now that net neutrality is gone, they now have the fastest, cheapest internet in the country. They got out ahead of that. Little Chattanooga. It wasn't San Francisco, it wasn't New York, it wasn't LA, it wasn't Portland, Oregon, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Get that going where you live. Subbed Hunter, that sucking sound made me want to die. Yeah, suck it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Where are we at now? Are you with Mena Talk with James? Mana Talk with James. Mana Talk. Thanks. Are you with Jesse Ventura running Green Party in 2020 for President of the United States? That's a really cool thing. I'm going to see how that shakes out. The Green Party does a lot of really good things on the national level. What I've noticed just from doing the Progressive Comedy Tour and trying to contact Green Party, the DSA was very responsive to us. They got a hold of us. They sent people to a lot of our shows. The little Green parties in all of the 5 states you went to, none of them got back to us. And I think it's just sort of indicative of the problem with the Green Party. You've got Jill Stein on the national level, and she's really out there, and she's in the forefront, and she doesn't back down. She's is great in interviews because she's not a bullshitter. But on the local level, the DSAs are way out ahead of what the Green Party's doing. And I know DSA isn't a party, but in terms of just local organizations. And the Green Party just sort of like, oh, we have a Green Party in this town, we have a Green Party in that town, and it's just like 9 people on a Facebook page. And there's no like infrastructure. Nobody really following it. They all just kind of went, yeah, we're Greens, like with this sort of, we know we can never win anything. Yay, we're just going to have this little hippie party and not really try to fight and win. And now is the opportunity more than ever for the Green Party to actually get a foothold, and they need to fucking do that. And they need to do it on a goddamn local level. I'm down with Jesse Ventura. I mean, he's on that show on RT, and I think, what's her name, Brigida Santos is the co-host. She's great. So I want to see how it shakes out. But if the DNC puts another dummy up there, I'll vote Green again. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. If they screw over Bernie or Tulsi, whoever runs, I mean, I'd love to see it. And if the DNC just keeps being stupid and corrupt, and somebody like Tulsi or Nina or even Bernie run with Jesse Ventura, then, man, I'm in. I became Green Party when Bernie was thrown under the bus. I just don't vote Green. Yep. Oh, there's some morons on the feed. Stephen Carl, Jesse Ventura running for prez may have a similar effect as Bernie did in 2015-16 in terms of raising awareness about a better path forward. The difference being Jesse's legit. I think that's a good point. People know who Jill Stein is. They knew who Gary Johnson was, and everybody knew Bernie, obviously. So that's part of it. Is just this really showing you the two-party system is completely broken. I mean, neoliberals will go, yeah, but anyone but Trump, we got to resist. If you vote Green, you let Trump happen. Dummy. My man said, if the Dems keep being corrupt, yeah. If. Andrew Street, what if Hillary Rodham Clinton runs? Well, that would be the single greatest thing for the Green Party. It would be the single greatest thing. Get a female VP, somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, and Jesse and Tulsi run, and they would go crush Hillary. Because everyone would go, we're done. And the Republicans that are embarrassed of Trump, he has his diehard supporters. They don't give a shit what anyone thinks. They don't care what Trump says. They don't care. They think he's doing great. They think he's passed all these laws and made the world better. They think the economy's great because they don't. But more like Reagan Republicans are like, geez, Trump's an embarrassment. They could vote for Jesse. I think you could do it. Craig Robb, I think Bernie would say fuck you and do his own thing. He might. Montauk James, it's okay to be any other party, but Know that there's only one party that actually cares about people, but the need a little unification. I'm working on it. I don't understand. You guys are having some other thing. Liberal Discord. Worst case scenario, Ventura wouldn't lose popularity because he won't endorse a corporate candidate like Bernie did for HRC. Absolutely. If you're running as a Green, you don't care what happens in the primary. You're running. Your goal is get votes in November. And if he's got real money behind him, he can actually go out and do a real campaign and maybe get 15% of the polls to get himself on stage for the national debates. Taj Marie, I wouldn't bet too much on Bernie. Tim Black just showed Bernie putting a seal of approval on Russiagate in Congress. Yeah, I know. Bernie's really, and he won't go on Jimmy Dore, so it's less, it's ridiculous. Debate over Ro Khanna. In Denmark, you need 2% to get in. Nick Thompson, the trouble... Good to meet you in Chicago. The trouble with Jesse or any Green becoming president is that Congress would still primarily be establishment and cause failure. I have the same concerns about Bernie. You know, here's the thing. What I would say is, would the two parties line up against a Green or an independent president? Maybe. But I think you could start peeling some people away. And I think if a Green Party candidate, if let's say Jesse Ventura is doing well in the polls, guess what? More Greens are going to get voted into Senate and Congress. That's absolutely going to be the case. And then they could and a Green president could, if he doesn't get some Greens in the 2020, could say, hey, 2022 midterms, put more Greens in there and I can really get some work done. That would happen. Like, we don't understand. People always say that, well, if you have an independent, well, but everyone's so fucking sick of the two-party system that you got to understand that if an independent or third-party candidate got to the White House, it would be a cataclysmic shift in politics in America. And this, like, business as usual, wow, it would be like, people would be like, oh, all bets are off. Fuck this. I'm voting these people out, man. People might just go, I'm going to go Green across the board in 2020. Fuck them. You'd see a lot more Greens getting into the House and Senate. And it would be shaken up. It wouldn't be this like 52-48, one party or the other dominance. It would be like, well, there's 36 Republicans and 25 Democrats and 15 Green. I don't know if my math is right there, but you know what I'm saying? It would be spread out way more. Oh, there's a Peace and Freedom person made it in. And, well, look at that, you know. And you'd have some Democrats going, fuck this, I'm going to go Green. I bet you'd see that happen. Some people who are like tired of fighting the neoliberal wing in the Democratic Party would go, you know what, I'm going to join the Green. The president's Green, I'm going Green. It would happen. It would be a landslide. Not a landslide, but I mean, it would be it would be a domino effect. I'm trying to find some sort of collapse metaphor. That's my opinion. That's my opinion on this. Don't forget, guys, you can support the show by hitting the super chat button there. Had some guy lose his shit a couple weeks ago because I'm a progressive who's trying to pay my bills. Andrew Sweet, Green needs to change their name to the Progressive American Party. Yeah. That's a good point. Nick Thompson, very good points. I went Green across the board in 2016. While Trump is horrible, he is very good at calling out Republicans and Dems, holding up his agenda. Yeah. People always forget. Trump blew up the Republican Party in the primaries. He stood on stage with Jeb Bush. Everyone was like, oh, it's going to be Bush Clinton part 2. Nope. He blew them up. Ted Cruz, I mean, he ate him alive, man. I don't like him. I don't agree with him, but he blew up the Republican Party. So a Green running against that lunatic, there's a lot of Republicans that are jumping ship. You'd be shocked. If Jesse Ventura could absolutely campaign in the middle of the country, he would go into the reddest of red states and say, I'm going to actually give you jobs. I'm not going to make you be a vegetarian, but I'm going to build a solar plant here and you're going to have a job, $25 an hour union job. And people are going to go, yeah. He's going to say saving the environment is going to help you and your family. It's going to put food on your table. And people will go, okay. And he's going to give all the examples. They're already out there. All these rural communities are making money. There's like in Minnesota and stuff like that, they're putting wind turbines and all the farmers are making money from it. I'm telling you, man. George Peterson, Ventura has the vote here in Minnesota for sure. Absolutely. Greens and socialist alternative folks should be one party with DSA candidates. I'm down with it. Snork Y2K, yes, would like to see a candidate that is green rather than one who spews green stuff in interviews. Absolutely. I'm telling you. Here's the thing, like the Trump win was nuts. And you know what it showed me? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. So I don't think it's going to come from Bernie. He just seems like he's too like in bed with the DNC and he's just afraid that he's going to not be invited to their parties or something. I don't know what. But Jesse Ventura, man. Imagine him and Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, wow. Now you have a woman VP who's a vet. So like any of this, they're soft on safety or national security. Is like, really? You think Tulsi Gabbard doesn't know her shit? Natural Progressive, thank you for supporting the show. Some of my overtime money just for you. Contact me about the next chat. May have to put it on calendar. May have put it on calendar the wrong Monday. Absolutely, Chris. I'll email you through Patreon later tonight, and we can figure out when we're going to do the next one. So awesome for supporting the show, and I appreciate you guys supporting the show. I really do. And like I've said, anyone out there that's money's tight, don't worry about it. Don't ever feel bad about not being able to support this. It's all good, man. It's all good. So Chris, thank you so much, and we'll get you back on the Skype. We'll schedule that for sure. Check out my interview I just did with her. It's really, really cool. Really interesting what she was saying, what she's going through. If you or somebody you know is, going through wanting to change their gender and all the emotions from that, you get a very honest appraisal from somebody who went through it. So it's a really cool conversation. It's a really cool video to watch. It was very eye-opening for me, and because I've never had to go through that. And if you ever have to or know a family member, whatever, it's a helpful video. It's very personal. It's not some clinical thing. It's a very personal thing. I really liked it. Thanks again. Amy Matura, thank you for supporting the show. So much injustice in the world, and I check email and get worked up over Joe Biden. We're in the midst of an all-out assault on human dignity, as if he's not a problem. Yeah, I mean, this is... those fucking fundraising emails. I just unsubscribe from any of that crap, any of the Democratic Party's nonsense. There is so much injustice in the world, and the hypocrisy of people from the right and left. It feels like there's more hypocrisy from the left almost. There's a lot of hypocrisy from the right. Let's not cut them slack. That hypocrisy is so maddening. Because it's almost worse. Because in one way, it's like someone's just like, yeah, this is my point of view. Fuck you. Okay. All right, fine. We just don't agree and you just don't give a shit what I think. You don't care about anyone that doesn't have your views. Fine. But people who say they're all fight the power and we got to do something about it and then they're part of the problem. I know. That's like Joe Biden. So like if the Democrats put up Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren in 2020, man, that'd be awful. It would just be awful. I'd rather have Hillary run again because she'll get worked. Nothing would galvanize a third party candidate more than her running again. I mean, literally. That's the kind of thing where like the Greens and Libertarians could join forces and people go, I'm in, you know? Yeah, Joe Biden. Oh God, what a ridiculous jackwagon. Jesse has run as a libertarian, but he definitely is. He's very pro-environment from what I've seen, and he says he wants to run as a green. Mr. Lorbu, sorry, I can't, Graham. Cannot give Google any money, but I will support you again soon on Patreon. No worries, dude. I get it. Yes, when you do the super chats, Google does take a percentage, and if that bothers you, I totally understand. There's do the Patreon. Some of you have just sent cashier's checks to my P.O. box, which is on my website, grahamelwood.com. There's many ways to support the show if you don't want to give Google a percentage. Absolutely true. Not offended at all. If you don't want to support Google. I've started to put videos on Daily Motion. I'm going to put that up there. Let's get daily. Daily Motion. Got 21 videos up on Daily Motion. I'm putting the videos up in 2 spots. So it's dailymotion.com/GrahamElwood. But again, I only got 3 followers. So follow me on Daily Motion. And if you don't want to give Google money, you can start watching the videos on Daily Motion. They all should be monetized for ads, and then it's Daily Motion, not Google. Great way to support the show. That's why I'm putting stuff on both platforms. If you guys still like YouTube, that's cool. But it's on Daily Motion as well. And I'm working on getting that Steam. Steam is complicated as fuck. Jesus Christ. Craig Robb, the left in Quebec puts us all to shame. Yeah, oh God. Well, that's the thing I've talked about. In so many countries, people like Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie are centrists. You know, I did that conversation in Daily Motion with Danny in Germany, which was a really cool conversation. And he talked about, you know, so many of our crazy left-wing platforms in America are there's just centrist, which is nuts. So that's something to bring. That's a good point to bring up. Jordan Peterson, Jesse would win on that point alone. He's the only anti-war candidate in my lifetime. Yeah, Joe Biden helped author the crime bill, for fuck's sake. Well, that's the thing, too. Big Jesse Ventura, big former wrestler, tough guy Jesse Ventura saying, no war, I'm against war. A candidate coming out and just going, I'm no war. He would out-left whatever Democratic shill they put up there. I mean, it would just be like so great. It would be so great. Like a candidate who I agree with on all, I don't have to lesser of two evils. It would be great. Liberal Discord, if it's Biden versus Bernie, then Bernie could win. But if it's Harris versus Bernie, boy, he's got a hill to climb. Yeah. Kamala Harris, yeah, I know. Well, yeah, she would get the identity politics vote. Look how progressive we are that a cop that, you know, let One West Bank get away with ruining people's lives in California and could have done something about it. Look at just Obama 2.0. Yeah, that's what they would play, you know. Brandon Williams, how do you feel about Trump supporters still being with Trump after doing everything the opposite to what he said on the campaign? Does that show they are not that intelligent? Well, I don't want to just say all Trump supporters are dumb or not intelligent, because that's not true. But I think some of them just, they bought in and said, that's that. Oh, the news is fake. I don't buy it. And they're not following that close attention. And Fox News isn't really holding them that accountable. I think some have gone, oh man. So what some of them have done is just any criticism, they're just drinking the Kool-Aid. Are they not intelligent? I don't know. Because I've seen so many Hillary supporters who are smart, college-educated people just, nope, she's right. She didn't do anything wrong. Any criticism of her makes you a sexist, you know. So I think some of these supporters, I have to be looking at this going, how is he, but you know, if they just follow him and other followers of him, then they probably are, yeah, he's doing great. Look at all the stuff he's done. When he really hasn't passed that many. He hasn't done much. So it's like, you know, I don't want to just make this blanket statement, all Trump supporters are morons, but some of them don't want to listen to the reality of their candidate. But that's the problem of politics in America. I voted for Hillary, so you can't say, they don't want to hear the truth. DNC primary was corrupt. She voted for the war in Iraq. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I voted for Obama. He's the good guy. I don't want to hear any criticism of Obama makes you a racist. It's like, that's the problem. Any criticism of Trump, oh, you're libtard, you're fake news. They just, nope, don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to, they're in, I don't know if they're dumb, but they're just in denial. But a lot of Americans are living in just rampant denial. You know, everyone's all up in arms about ICE, as well they should be. They're finally showing videos of it online, but there's no videos of Rachel Maddow crying over all of the people we murder in Yemen every day. So all those people are in denial. It's off. They're in denial that Obama deported 2 million people. Everyone's in denial. That's what I think it is. Yeah, some of them are just really greedy. Thank you for following my on Daily Motion, you guys. No, they're dumb. Okay, that's your opinion. There are supporters like that all over. We're upset about the AJ Plus interview where the lady shit on Bernie, but for not supporting BDS and or Palestinian rights. Yeah, absolutely. There's some diehard Bernie people. They don't want to wake up to the fact that he's not doing the thing he said he was going to do. You know, so we all got to, the thing I've said repeatedly is it's policy over Purdy. You're Purdy. It's policy over party. It's policy over the person. It's the truth over everything else. I don't like, you know, if it comes out that Bernie's corrupt and taking money, then I'm not down with him. I voted for Obama twice, man. He drone striked the fuck out of the Middle East, and I had to kind of come to grips with that. I didn't like it privately, but I didn't say anything publicly, so I'm done with that. It's about the truth for me. That's where I'm at. Dresden Z, I really enjoyed your interview with the Natural Progressive. Thank you for sharing she was great. It was a great interview. Yeah, Amy Matura, I hate that Bill cheated on Hillary and still find it repulsive. Thanks for supporting the show. Yeah. Like, everyone has to, like, they make all these false equivalencies. And if you're this, then it's, or these blanket statements. And it's like, I'm glad Obama legalized gay marriage. That was a big step forward in this country. I have a lot of friends that are gay, and I'm glad they're able to get married like anyone else. It's the Constitution is very clear. Everybody gets the same rights in America. Everybody gets the same rights. I think the birtherism shit about Obama was racist and bullshit. It was nonsense. And I think taking us from 2 wars to 7 is detestable. I think 5.2 million foreclosures, me being one of them, is fucking horrifying. I get to say all those things. I get to say this, I like this, and I don't like that. I don't have to just, I agree with this across the board or I don't across the board. I'm so fucking sick of that crap. Policy over party. Robert Fernandez, if not Bernie, do you have your eyes on anyone else? Yeah, we were just talking earlier about Jesse Ventura running and Tulsi Gabbard. I would love Tulsi Gabbard, man. She is just really coming up as such a solid progressive. I have a lot of faith in her. And man, you want to talk about likability and electability. She's a combat vet. She's whip smart. She's going headstrong to protect the environment. She's asking, like a combat vet gets to ask questions of why we keep going war, why we keep doing bullshit regime change. A combat vet gets to ask that, you know? And you want to think you've dealt with sexism? Be a woman in the military. Be a woman in the military. I bet you she'll just handle that like, pfft. And she won't play that card. She'll just say it's not right. She won't play the I'm with her the way Hillary did. She'll just be like, I've dealt with that crap. You know? I think it's almost like Hillary thrives on this any sexist anything because she's like, oh, I'll use that. You know, she's always just looking, Hillary's just looking for some angle where Tulsi feels like she's looking to be of service. Like, how can I serve? I'd love to see Tulsi Gabbard run as president or VP to somebody else that's got, like I said, Jesse. If Bernie ran, I don't care. I'd vote for her as president in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, man. So, yeah, Bernie should be your VP in 2020. Natural progressive. Be a woman anywhere in man-dominated field. The feminist will disgust you. That's a good point. David Kapoor just took a walk with Hillary supporter friend. She admitted banks weren't changed and are out of control. She knows wars increased and Obamacare affairs, but still unquestionably in love with him and Hill. I know. I don't get that. Are most people in general, but Americans, in so desperate need of a leader that they'll just, oh yeah, I know they did some bad things, but I love them. They're better than Trump. I mean, for you, privileged American, but if you were in Libya and you're now being sold in the open slave market because Hillary and Obama made that happen, you probably don't give a shit. Just American privilege. I was talking to my friend, he's like, but he kept saying, we gotta retake the House and Senate. I go, who's we? The Democrats? Who? They're not me. Don't say we. I'm not. Don't. The Democratic Party does not represent me. Who? What Democrats? Joe Manchin, Heidi Heitkamp. Those are the Democrats. We got to get back in there. People like that. Bill Clinton that signed the 3 Strikes You're Outlaw. Those Democrats. Maybe she'll go to Michigan this time. Brandon Williams. Graham, how long do you think the American empire is going to last? Because as history has shown, empires don't last very long. Yeah, man, we've been around, what, 240 some years? 242 years? I know, Rome was, what, 275? I mean, like, I think we're watching an empire collapse in real time. I don't know. 10 years? 20? 30, maybe less, maybe 5. It's hard to say. If we don't have a radical recorrection, that's the one thing I always said historically is like the one thing that makes America have a chance at lasting longer is because if we we're a representative democracy. We have the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. But we're not a representative democracy anymore. We're a kleptocracy with oligarchs, and that's what we got. So America could correct itself if it really purged itself from all this. It could, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't know. Somewhere between 10 to 30 years, maybe, America's going to not be what it looks like today. Might be broken up into a bunch of states, a half a dozen countries or something. I don't know. It's a good question, though. It's a really good question. C. Blaine, depends on how fast China and Russia jump on all the allies we've pushed away. Yeah, that's a good point. Retardocracy. Yeah. Robert Fernandez, has your stand-up gotten predominantly political, or would you prefer not to pigeonhole yourself? I wouldn't say that my stand-up has gotten predominantly political, but my stand-up comedy has gotten way more political in the last year. I've written a bunch of new material, and it's very political in one form or another. I'm putting a political angle on everything. I've even taken some old bits and reworked them and put them into newer stuff in the construct of a larger political or social commentary. Everything and stuff I've gone through. I've talked about my breakup and having to get a restraining order against my ex-girlfriend. And I've talked about that on a personal level and then on a greater political level, on social commentary and changing the culture of things. Because I've received a lot of resistance because I'm a man that got a restraining order against a woman. A lot of women in particular, I've noticed, have been like, wow, they sort of dismiss it. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, you're a big, strong man. And it's like, she's a gun owner. I don't care if you're a woman that's 5'2", 100 pounds, and you have a gun. Guess what? You could kill the heavyweight champion of the world. You could run that guy over with your car. It doesn't matter. If you're violent and out of control, as my ex is, which is why I have a restraining order, you're a danger. You're dangerous. She could just come fucking sit right there and shoot me to death. You could watch me die in real time. She grew up shooting automatic weapons in Florida. She could fucking mow me down. She could get the gun. She'd certainly know how to use it. I don't know how to use it. So yeah, my act has become way more political. And I'm so proud of it. Doing the Native American stand-up show, I've talked about that. Talked about, like, I do this whole bit taking down the NFL. As a guy that used to who played football, that used to love watching football. And within that, I've got a whole So yeah, it's becoming way more. And I love it. I'm finally like, I love it. Amy Matura, thank you for supporting the show. Have you heard of Drew Michael? I find him funny. I have not. I don't know who that is, but thanks for supporting the show. Marcia Smith. Little extra love back to you, Marcia. You always support the show. You're awesome. She does sound unloving. Mr. Lorbu, the U.S. empire will very likely not collapse during our lifetime. Interesting. Yeah, who knows? Robert Fernandez, come to Boston, Providence area. Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. Earlier in the stream, somebody asked if I'm going to come to New York. Ron Placone and I are going to do an East Coast swing. I don't know when, but it would be like New York City, Boston, Philly, DC, Baltimore area for sure. It'd be easy to bang that out. We'd do it all by train. I love taking the train. You just sit back and you read. It's lovely. Vote green. When a billionaire's employees are on food stamps, there's no morality. Absolutely. C. Blaine, wish we would stop trying to determine who deserves sympathy when it comes to domestic violence. Crazy comes in all sizes. Man, thank you so much for this, for bringing that up, because I'm like, wow, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. One, I know what, like, women who've had to be victims of domestic abuse go through when they're discounted. And when any abuse victim of any type of abuse is discounted, I know how that feels. I also got more educated. 20% of domestic abuse is women against men, and that's what's reported. Men typically report, they don't report it. If they do report domestic abuse, they report it later. I reported it later. I didn't talk about it. I was like, I'm a man, I can handle it. She went nuts on me and she's violent. I just stood there and took it. I just took it because I can't hit back. Then I go to jail. But I learned new statistics too. 1 in 8 men have had unwanted sexual contact by the time they're 18 years old, and 40% of their abusers are women. Whew, that's pretty alarming. And really, this is like, our society is pretty sexist. And one of the ways it's sexist is that, you know, all women are victims. That's part of my problem with some types of feminism, is it's just like, I'm all for female empowerment, having the same rights, but then some feminists are like, well, women are all victims, they're all weak, but we're all powering girls. And I know some women are like, that's bullshit. We can't be victims and all powerful. And a really good friend of mine is a woman who has an advanced degree. She's highly intelligent. She's a go-getter. She's not a pushover in any sense of the imagination. It's like, Graham, there's no shortcut to integrity. And all of, you know, like, through this hashtag Me Too thing, I'm glad the Harvey Weinstein's the world. He's a serial rapist. But then as it started to get more into a witch hunt, like what happened with Cenk and Jordan Cheriton, that felt more like, we're just, if a woman makes an accusation, the man's guilty. Just boom, loses his job. And it's like, wait a minute. That's dangerous. And I've even talked to a female friend. She's like, normally I just automatically believe the woman. And I'm like, wow, you don't think that's dangerous? No due process, no investigation. We got to go case by case. I dated a woman who's very famous now. We dated 20 years ago, briefly. Didn't work out. She's still a friend. What if I just came forward and said, oh, she held a knife to my throat and forced me to have sex with her, and I was just ashamed for 20 years, and then she's on a big fancy TV show. What if they just fired her? Canceled her show, no investigation. She loses her job just because I made that accusation. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. It's not good. And violence is awful. Abuse is awful. When it happens to or from anyone, it's awful. I know people in lesbian relationships that have been the victim of abuse. I know in gay men have been the victim of abuse. I know women that have abused men. I know men that have abused women. Like, it's all awful, and it should all be treated the same. And it's nuts. It's an awful thing. Yeah, and people like keep discounting me because my ex was very nice and sweet. She's young. She's very attractive. And so no one can believe it. Some people, my good friends, believe me. They're always like, God, it's just nuts that would happen. I go, yeah. I've gotten head fights with women. I've had women slam doors and yell and scream. And I've never been afraid of a woman in my life until I saw that crazy rage come out of her. And it happened in a short amount of time when she started drinking and doing drugs. It's nuts. So, yeah, I don't know how we got on that subject, but Craig Rob, my brother had women that smack him and shit. Yeah, people of sociopaths. Natural Progressive, used to be a joke about a wife taking care of her husband with a rolling pin and a frying pan. It's not funny. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, too. I mean, I know how many women in my life, just female friends or girls I've dated, I'd like make a joke or something, go, oh, shut up, and they'd fucking smack me. And I'd go, ow, like, oh, you're a man, you can take it. Yeah, but I don't want to. It's not nice. I don't want anyone hitting me. And you can just hit me. If I do that to a woman, I'm evil. I'm a fucking sociopath. I'm an abuser. I'm the worst. Never hit a woman in my life. I've had women do that all the time. Oh, shut up, and punch me in the arm. Ow, fuck. And it's like, okay, you want to change the culture? You want to change the patriarchy? Okay. You want to change double standards? Great. Start with some of the double standards that you benefit from. Going back to Robert Fernandez's question, I have a joke in my act where I talk about the California Assemblywoman. This came out in January, February. It came out that at a company softball game, or like an office softball game, a male subordinate guy that worked underneath her, she grabbed his ass at the game. He accused her of this. And it was like, wow, let's do a full investigation. I don't know whatever happened, if she got fired or what. But there all this big talk, we're going to do a full investigation. And I do a joke about it in my act. And one of the things I say is like, well, if Al Franken is fired, and just like, okay, if she's done this before, like, then investigate and fire her, right? Because if a guy did that, male politician grabbed a female subordinate's ass at a softball game, or anywhere for that matter, he's going to just get gunned, right? Well, then so should she. And the joke I make in my act, and yeah, the guy, he shouldn't have wore those tight softball pants, right? I love that joke because I'm calling out women for, hey, you need to be held accountable too. And also that age-old bullshit male sexist thing of, well, she was asking for it, she shouldn't have wore that tight dress. That's bullshit. So if we're going to call it out, my whole thing is we're going to call it out, we're going to change the culture, then we got to change all of it. Because if we just do pendulum swinging, it won't fix a goddamn thing. I know men that own private businesses, and after the Me Too thing, were like, I'm not hiring women anymore. It's like recently, I go to my yoga studio, and one of the places I go to, they have like a big main building, and then there's a little bungalow. And I go to that class. I go there sometimes. And it's like 10 people in a class, 12 people. And a couple of times the class is over, and I go to the restroom, or I'm putting my shoes on, and everyone left, and it's just me and this other woman, and we're both getting our stuff on to leave. And I got out of there quick because you know what popped into my mind? I'm all alone with this woman. There's nobody here. If she just accuses me of something, I'm fucked. That popped into my mind. I didn't hit on her. I don't know her name. I'm not asking her phone. I'm not doing any of that. But what popped in, she could just fucking accuse me and I'm fried. What if she's some Hillary supporter that watched one of these videos and hates me? What if she knows that I'm kind of famous or known or whatever and just is mad and just decides to accuse me? And that has popped into my mind recently in the last 6 months. I don't like being alone with women that I don't know, because I don't want to be accused of some shit that I didn't. And I've never been a creep I've never done that. I've asked girls out or whatever, but I've never done anything like, but I'm just like, that's what's going through my mind. Is that a good thing? Men being held more accountable, men having conversations with each other. Hey man, we shouldn't make that joke. Or look, you asked her out, she said no, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Like, stop, but like, don't post that stuff. That's not cool. Like, those conversations are good. That'll help change the culture. But anyone that is abusing that situation, what you're doing is actually making harder on real abuse victims, male or female, who are afraid to come forward. Robert Fernandez, how's that joke working? Are the women laughing? Yes, that joke gets a huge response. When I do the, hey, that guy shouldn't have wore those sexy pants, I've seen women like fucking jump out of their seat clapping because they see the joke I'm making. I'm pointing out how ridiculous it is. All the years men have said, she shouldn't wear those tight pants, or she had it coming, or she shouldn't have gone to his place late at night, or whatever. Whatever. That joke's been working great. It's one of my favorite jokes. Stephen Carl, our American tendency is to overreact to every situation isn't improved by our culture of fear. We need a drastic shift in consciousness. Fuck you for making that accusation. Haha. See, I overreacted. No, you're absolutely true. That's the thing. That's part of this is America just overreacts to everything because we're always in fear. Our media tells us we're afraid. We overact militarily. Our police overreact. Somebody says one little thing online, everybody loses their fucking shit on Twitter. We overreact to everything. I heard Joe Rogan refer to it as sort of recreationally outraged. People like go online like, oh, I'm going to get outraged today. Craig Robb, if you work at a bar and are okay looking, your dick will get grabbed eventually. Yeah. Oh man, Look, I've heard, just in comedy, my female comic friends have told me stories that just like, oh my God, that's awful. Like, holy fuck, women shouldn't be treated that way. No fucking way on this earth, and that needs to change, absolutely. But I've had my ass grabbed a bunch. I've had my dick grabbed. I've had women say awful things to me. I've had that happen. I've had that happen. It's awful. And it is, I don't, and I brought that up, and then women just shoot me down. No, but what's happened more? Shut up. And it's just like, so you don't want to fix the problem. You don't want to fix the problem. You just want revenge? Yeah. It's awful. We need to fix the whole thing. The whole thing. So, yeah. Yeah, you might agree with Joe Rogan. Our critical thinking skills are in severe decline. That's absolutely true. We just have to overreact and lump everything into one thing versus case-by-case basis. I mean, just in the show business world, Chris Hardwick and Harvey Weinstein, I don't think they're the same thing, not even close. I don't even think they're close. Case by case. I've only read the article. I'm friends with Chris, but I have not talked to him since this all went down. I'm not that close to him. It's not like a guy I hang out with all the time, but I've known him for a long time. And I read that first thing, and it just sounded like this woman, they had a bad relationship. Maybe he wasn't that great of a boyfriend, but if there was no sexual assault, that's not a crime. If he actively tried to block her from getting work, then she might have a civil case there, defamation of character. But that's not the same thing as Harvey Weinstein as a serial rapist. Harvey Weinstein needs to spend the rest of his fucking life in prison. Fuck that guy. You know, but let's talk about that a little bit. What Harvey Weinstein did is awful. Fuck him. I hope he's in prison the rest of his life. There are many women that slept with him because he's powerful. He looks like a fucking troll. His wife, ex-wife now, is gorgeous. Melania Trump, beautiful women go after powerful men, rich and powerful men. Any of the women that he sexually assaulted, those women, you know, that's awful that went through. But there are women who consensually went, oh, he's a big movie producer, and went and had consensual sex with Harvey. And this happens all over Hollywood. The more famous you get, the more women just come up to you and go, hey, I've had women put phone numbers in my back pocket. If I were to get crazy famous in the next year or so, it would change. It would change. I've seen it happen. When I've gotten TV shows, I've seen women just, hi. They didn't know I was the host or the producer, the director, whatever, and they're just like, man, who's this guy? And then they find, oh, that's the director. Oh, hi. I've seen that happen. So, and Sharon Stone called this out. The women that are, like what Harvey Weinstein did, any assault, that's fucking awful, and we need to say that. And all of the wealthy people that knew, Meryl Streep, you're going to try to tell Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks and all these people didn't know that Harvey Weinstein was doing this? No, they knew. They just got a fucking mantle full of gold trophies that he helped them get, so they're not going to say anything. So we need to talk about that. Right? And Sharon Stone said it. She goes, any women that are doing the casting couch, I'm going to go sleep with this guy. He's ugly and disgusting, but it'll help my career. That's on you, man. If you're allowing that, you're doing that, you're perpetuating that. You're saying that. Doesn't allow Harvey Weinstein to be a fucking rapist, not at all. But that's the thing. If you go have consensual sex with a guy that you're not attracted to because you think it's going to help your career, or you're going to marry a rich guy that you think is disgusting because you want to live in a big house, that's on fucking you. That's on you. Anyway. Snork Y2K, difficult to find non-smoking, vegan, non-religious women after the age of 50. I know. I know. Mooscal, don't forget Aziz Ansari and how his bad date was thought of as sexual assault from his date. Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the Aziz Ansari thing real quick. And then I got to get out of here, but Ashley Banfield I read the whole thing. This woman wrote this column saying, I saw Aziz Ansari at a thing. She obviously was like, he's famous. She wouldn't have gone after Aziz Ansari if he was the fucking IT guy at her office. Okay. And she goes, oh, he performed oral sex on me. Then I performed oral sex on him. Then he wanted to have sex. He didn't pin you down. He didn't force you. He didn't use... Okay. And Ashley Banfield said, this just sounds like a bad date. This young woman called Ashley Banfield old and ugly. Women should have skewered that girl, because what that girl is doing is making it harder on women that are actually assaulted. Do I, as a man, get to write dates about women that were... Some girl fucking in a date, you know, grabbed my dick and had rings on, and I was like, ow, ow, you're fucking... Don't rip it off. Do I get to write a blog on that? Do I get to do that? I've had bad dates. I've had women that were like, the sex was weird and they were like, ow. I had women bite me. I was like, what the fuck are you biting me? She said, oh, I thought you like, I don't want you biting me. We could all tell these stories. Gay, straight, man, woman, we could all tell these stories. That's not assault. That's not assault. If a woman holds a knife to my throat, that's rape. That's rape. Yeah, Ashley Banfield is very good looking. Well, we got off on a crazy one. This is a good talk, you guys. I got to run. Yeah, the woman that was with Aziz, obviously, she wanted to have a famous boyfriend. She wanted Aziz Ansari to be her famous boyfriend, and he didn't want to. He was just like, oh, I'm famous. I just get to hook up with girls because I'm famous. And this girl got mad and then put it out there. It's just like, woof. Marshall Villager, how consensual if it's one of the only ways women to advance their careers, men might have other avenues. I don't agree with that. Women can advance their careers without sleeping around. If women think the only way they can advance their careers is sleeping around, that's wrong. That's bullshit. This isn't 1950. Is it still a male-dominated world? Is it still patriarchal? Yeah, but the only way, there's plenty of ways for women to advance their careers. There's plenty of successful women out there who are beautiful, who have done it by working hard. Does Abby Martin get a show? Because how did Abby Martin get there? How did Brigitte Santos on RT? Right? Those are smart, attractive women that busted their ass to get where they're at. They didn't have to sleep around. There's plenty of women who are successful that did not have to sleep around. So don't give me this thing that there's no other way for women to advance their careers than sleeping around. It's bullshit. You want it to be, I have a career in show business. If I wanted to be crazy, crazy famous, you know, if there was a powerful female producer that said, you want to sleep with me and I'll make your career famous, that's on me. That's on me. I've advanced my career without having to do that. I could be more famous. I've had some gay guys that were producers that kind of like, hey, and if I wanted, I'm not gay. I could probably would have helped my career, but I'm not doing that. I don't buy that excuse at all. What about desperate women who are pressured to fuck managers and shitty job? If it's one of the only ways for them to get jobs or careers, it's coercion. Maybe, but you still have a choice. And I'm sorry. Again, we live in a world. There's options. There's options. There's options out there. You can get a car and drive for Lyft. There's all these ways to make money out there that are legal that don't involve you having to do that. Guys that take advantage of women that are desperate, hey, you're tight on money and you suck this and I'll help you. Those guys are pieces of shit. They're fucking pieces of shit. But if you say yes, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, some women think porn is their only way to make money. The only way I could make money is, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. What if I know people in show business, this is to a lesser degree, the only way I can make money is work in reality TV. No, it isn't. You can say no to that. I've said no to it. I've worked a little bit in reality TV. I don't like it. It's bullshit. My movie podcast would be more successful if we had movie fights and called people out and we're all controversial. There's options out there. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Yeah, there's some people who think going into crime is their only way to do it. That's... Yeah, but you didn't say it was the only way, but you're saying, what about a woman that's so desperate she has to do that? Yeah, the guy's a piece of shit, but everybody has a choice. You have a choice. In a third world country where it's that bad, maybe you could make an argument, but here, no. Men have way more avenues? Maybe. But what about all these women that are successful? What about all these women that are entrepreneurs? What about young YouTube stars who created their own? What about all these ways? If you think the only way for you to get ahead is to sleep around or commit a crime, then that's up here. That's up here. Oh, I have to get a man to feel good about myself. I have to get pregnant. I have to whatever. I got to get married. I got to get a straight job. I got to whatever. I don't buy it. I had to join Wall Street. I had no choice. Let's face it, in this economy, a lot of people will get desperate. There are other ways if you're resourceful and able-bodied. Of women to men, I think you are wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of women been in tough times financially and a lot of tough situations, and that's where they created like their home business. That's when you get resourceful. If you think all I have to do, my only choices are to sleep with this guy. Is that the CFN on the ATC YouTube channel? Yeah, that's correct. I had to bomb that third world country. I had no choice. There are articles about paying off college loans by having old guys pay. Yeah, why do you do that? If that option was available to men, they probably would take it. You don't have to do that. I know people who paid off their college loans by starting their own business. You can do anything on the internet now. It takes a lot of hard work. I started a YouTube channel out of nothing. I don't have a journalism degree. I started talking into my fucking phone. Talking into an iPhone with 2 shitty lights. These cost me $150. Someone said, I'll put you on TV, Graham, if you sleep with me. Well, that's my only way I can be on TV. Maybe. If I think that way it is. Yeah, man, I first moved to LA and money was tight and I got asked to do phone sex. And I was young and thought, oh, I'm going to talk to women? No, it was gay phone sex. And money was tight and I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. And you know what I did? I said no, because I didn't want to do it. And I moved furniture. It wasn't fun and it wasn't easy, but I did it. And I figured out how to get by. Had a bunch of roommates. So I'm sorry. The guys that are taking advantage of women that are disadvantaged, I'm done saying the same thing fucking over and over again. If you say yes to consent, if it's a gun put to your head or there's physical violence or anything like that, that's assault. If you say yes, the guy's a dick for taking advantage of you. You want some money? That guy's a piece of shit. That guy's a piece of shit. But I know so many women who have been in those situations and said no. I've been in those situations and I said no. Is the system the same? Is it fair for men and women? No, it's not. It's not equal. It's not fair. But in that particular instance, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I sound like a baby boomer now. Oh, okay. So the minute you don't agree with me, I'm a baby boomer. Got it. Oh, so we're going to play that game? I sound like a baby boomer? Oh, okay. Maybe you sound like an American that can't take personal responsibility. Show's over. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Amy Mature, for supporting the show and calling me a baby boomer when you didn't agree with me. Thank you, David Wint. Thank you, Dwayne Gordon. Thank you, The Natural Progressive. Thank you, Adam Kern. Thank you, The Natural Progressive again. Thank you, Amy Matura. 1, 2, 3 more times. Thank you, Marcia Smith. Thank you for talking about this. Free Julian Assange. Go check me out on Daily Motion. And you guys all have a good weekend. Marcia Smith resents that. Marcia Smith resents the remark as well. She's a baby boomer and she never spread her legs for an advantage. Interesting. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show and talking. I very much appreciate it. We did 102 minutes here today. Nick Thompson, thank you so much for supporting the show. Andrew Sweet, thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. And have a wonderful weekend. And thank you for bringing up subjects that we don't all agree on. I hope you're willing to think about them. And if you think you don't have choices, then you don't. I've been offered crime. I knew mob guys in Chicago. I've been offered porn and sex and all these things at times when I really needed the money. And I said no to them every time. If the DNC came to me and said, hey, Graham, you want to work for us? You want to do a commercial for us? You want to direct our thing? I would say no. I went through bankruptcy and foreclosure. And I could have done some really amoral things to pay that stuff off. And I didn't. Baby Gerald, thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the show. Let's all make Gotham great again. Personal responsibility. Let's all join in.